Producer Joe here from the Working Fans Podcast. And at the Working Fans Podcast, this is just a podcast that three lifelong fans created to have a place to talk comedy and pro wrestling. Now, our comedy podcast releases every Tuesday, while our wrestling podcast releases every Thursday. We release bonus episodes under the moniker Working Fans Presents every now and then. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, any major podcast provider. The important thing is just please like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to us. Now, we have started a new thing. We are now on Amazon and Audible. So those episodes release every Monday. And that's kind of going through the archives and just releasing our old episodes in a new area. So if you want to live through the process with us again, take that journey with us again, you can find us over on Amazon and Audible. Now, if you can't get enough of us in the audio form, check out our YouTube. It's youtube.com/C/Working Fans Wrestling Pod, or just search Working Fans Podcast on YouTube. We have the whole archive is up there. And if you listen to the Working Fans Podcast, you are more than familiar with the 531. That is our signature segment where we take your top 5 lists on a particular subject, vote it down to a top 3, and then debate it down to a top 1. Now, guys, if you want to hear 3 guys talk shit about comedy, wrestling, life, anything, you will enjoy the Working Fans Podcast.
All right, everybody, it's the Working Fans Podcast with a man they call Dave. And today we have a special guest, one half of the legendary tag team Harlem Heat, 10-time WCW Tag Team Champion, WWE Hall of Famer, Stevie Ray. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, pleasure to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you for doing the show. I'll kind of start off with the basics here a little bit. What were you a fan of in terms of pro wrestling growing up? What got you into the business?
Actually, I was a fan of pro wrestling, period, man. What kid down here in Texas that wasn't, man? So, I always a big fan. My grandmother, my grandfather, everybody. You know what? I don't think I've ever met anybody that wasn't a fan of professional wrestling when I was a kid. I didn't meet people that was fans of professional wrestling until I became an adult. And they would say, oh, I don't watch wrestling. Well, then what the hell are you telling me for?
Right.
Because in my world where I grew up, everybody was in the professional. Everybody. So, yeah, that ain't had nothing to do with me getting in the business though. But I've always been a fan of professional wrestling.
It's funny. We're gonna jump all over the place a little bit here, but you said always a fan of professional wrestling. And people try to tell you they're not. And as a longtime fan myself, and you obviously were in the business, I started picking this up, especially, and not to get political, but in the last 4 years, how much stuff in actual life mirrors pro wrestling. Like
everything.
Right. I
used to tell people this all the time.
Yeah.
And so, I swear to God, because I've been in the radio for a while now, and I would always tell people everything that has anything to do with media or has anything to do with entertainment has stolen, has jacked all of their stuff from professional wrestling. Everything, even politics.
Yeah.
I said, if anybody saw Donald Trump run for office, that was pro wrestling 101.
1,000%, man.
The promos, the things that he brought up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Heel, babyface. I said, don't anybody get this? Oh, I'm crazy. Then at the end of everything, everybody, I was doing my podcast with Vince Russo today, and I was like, when are people going to start listening to me? I've been trying to tell you, I'm the black Nostradamus. Don't listen. I told you everything was going to happen that before it happened. And he had to agree. And he's like, well, you know, I listen. I said, well, I just like saying that just to make myself feel right. You know, I just like saying it. But yeah, I've been saying this for years.
Yeah.
Saying it for years. Everything. I said, look at reality shows. What is that?
Absolutely. Storylines, just all scripted. Yeah.
And very, very cheap to produce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually,
you got a big return.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's all and reality shows are some of the most scripted shows there are, you know.
Like I say, then people ask, is that real? Don't they ask the same thing with pro wrestling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at the beefs between artists.
Right. Great point. Yeah.
Look at the beefs.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so is having a beef with so and so. Oh, the girl's in it. Oh, she said this about brother.
Mm-hmm.
Pro wrestling wrote the playbook for everything we see in life right now.
Yeah.
The Pope will be in on it in a little bit. Two popes.
Two popes.
You know what I'm saying?
Sign it up.
You know what I'm saying? The Pope and the Ayatollah. A Pope and an Ayatollah be having a beef. Wait a minute. Come on.
I mean, and we're going to get into combat sports a little bit later, but I mean, Jake Paul, obviously, right? Like that guy, right?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
And people paying for it, brother. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is, bro. So when you ask a question like that with me, because I've been saying this for years, way before, I mean, for years, maybe last 10, 12 years, I've been saying, do anybody see how everything has turned into pro wrestling?
Yeah.
Nobody saw it, but you see it now.
Yeah. I think even on Joe Rogan's show a couple months ago, they were actually literally talking about kayfabe and kayfabe and politics. Yeah. I had to look it up, but I can send you a link. I did. There was actually he had somebody on there and they were talking about how kayfabe, and they were talking about from the pro wrestling industry. And I'm like, this is fucking insane, but it's so true. Like people are catching up. Yeah.
Oh man. They getting on everybody used to, I don't watch wrestling. Well, somebody, it's just like I explained to a lot of people when I do my podcast and people complain about WWE. Well, I wish it was like the Attitude Era. I can't like this, that, and the other. I said, brother, you got to realize something. Pro wrestling has even gone to another level. Pro wrestling is not wrestling anymore. It's a television show that just has a theme. The synopsis is pro wrestling. It's a TV show. They're not competing against wrestling. They competing against Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
They competing against Dynasty. Mm-hmm. They competing against other shows on network television. Mm-hmm. Not another wrestling show.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. That people don't get. So you will never get what you used to have a long time. You'll never get it. If you ever notice, ain't but a few, like on SmackDown, ain't but a few wrestlers on the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need 50 guys. We need the same guys every week.
Yeah.
It is what it is, bro.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And especially WWE, and that's not on, they're the brand, right? So they're catering to so many different audiences that's why, especially if you're we'll call it a hardcore wrestling fan, for lack of a better word, you're not going to really find what you're looking for there.
Go find something else, baby. That's the evolution of pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is not, it's television now. It's not a subculture anymore. It is pop culture.
Right. Yeah. And I would think that's the thing, right? It's just that, you can find, and there's so many different ways to watch wrestling and different things now. Just look for something you like, right? So much negative energy out there, especially on social media. I don't understand. Like, you got nothing better to do than, tweet or say something bad about a television show.
Yeah. Like if you go write one better since you don't like it.
Right.
Go write one better. Oh, I wish they do this. Well, keep wishing.
Yeah.
You really think they care about your negativity?
No.
Because for every generation, we get new fans every day. It's a child born every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they know that. They in the business of generating dollars, not generating yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday's gone, bro.
Now, I'm going to get back to wrestling for a second. Like I said, we'll go a little all over the place here because it's something I want to ask you.
It's your show, brother. You bring up whatever you want to bring up.
All right. I want to talk to you about this. I'm curious. Your theme music in WCW, just for me as a fan personally, one of my favorite all-time music, the Harlem Heat. Did you guys have a say in that? And
I'm no music producer, bro.
Yeah.
I come to work to wrestle. I'm not in, as far as producing music and this, that, and the other. I'm talent.
Okay.
In anything I do, I'm talent.
Yep.
That's all I want to know about. Somebody comes and say, "Hey, you like this song? Yeah, it's cool. Okay, that's as much as I'm giving you."
Gotcha.
I like it. You like it? Okay, cool. If you know what I'm saying. I'm talent, brother. The last thing I'm worried about is what music sound like.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
The checks in the mail.
I got to go out here and wrestle. I ain't sitting here listening to the best of, Don Fogelberg, I got to get in the ring, baby.
Let me ask you this, though. So, all right, pro wrestling, entertainment, obviously physical. I personally don't think it gets the respect from other things.
And who cares?
Okay, right. Yeah.
And who cares?
I
could care less what the world says about professional wrestling. That's why I say wrestling was always a subculture. We took care of ourselves. Now we want the adulation of other people and comparing ourselves to this, that, and the other. That ain't my world. That ain't my world. I can give two shits about what people think about this, that, and the other compared to something else. I don't. And I'm abrasive when I talk like this. But this is the world I come from. If I got the respect of my peers, that's all I give a shit about.
Gotcha.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm curious now. You're a pro wrestler, but you come from a tough background. You can handle yourself. Yeah. As a talent, when you were in the ring, what did you like when you were working with people? What did you look for? Did you like people to lay their shit in? What kind of?
I like people to work.
Okay.
I like people to work, and we make this match look good. You know what I'm saying? To me, everything was about the psychology of the match. That's what it's about. The psychology of the match. Everything else will find its place. But the psychology of the match and getting the people to where we want them to be, that is what we really focused on more than anything. Because some people throw good punches, some people don't. At the end of the day, that ain't going to make or break the match. The end of the day is the dance. End of the day is the dance. Did we get to where we supposed to be psychologically? That's what me and my brother used to always focus on.
Now, and in that same vein, who were you say you had some of the best chemistry with? Just a few guys.
We had chemistry with anybody that got in the ring. We prided ourselves on making you look good. Because if you look good, we was going to look good.
Right.
So we never worried about chemistry. Give us a couple of matches together, we'll have that down, just like anything else. So we always had that kind of confidence within ourselves. We always had it. We would look at a couple of things after one match. Okay, look at a few things this after another, this, that, and the other. Because it's hard to have it overnight. You know what I'm saying? And then a few more matches. Then okay, boom. Now I know this looks better for you guys, and this will look better for me. And then my brother would always go and say, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you this big bump this way. Throw me this way. Blah blah blah. I think I get it." So we looked at that. It's about work. It's about work. I don't give a shit about the chemistry because we'll get it.
Yeah.
It's just like when you hear Bill Belichick say, "Run it again." Run it again till you get it right. And if you get it right, boom, it's there. Some people are more fluent than others, but at the end of the day, that's how it goes.
So for you, I get the vibe. It's all about work ethic, right? Like it's just putting that work in and busting your ass, and you're gonna get it.
Well, it's a job,
right? 1,000%. You
It's
get
my
paid.
job.
Right.
My job is to do the best I can possibly do with what I got to work with. It's that simple. I never tried to make professional wrestling into rocket science like you hear a lot of these other guys talking about.
Right,
It ain't
right.
fucking rocket science. It ain't fucking rocket science. It's like dancing, baby.
Yeah.
If you know how to dance, we can dance together. Why make it into rocket science? I ain't trying to build no fucking space shuttles.
It is funny because you're right. I think as fans, we do build it up sometimes. But if you look at all the things that go into it, it's you showing up, you're doing a job. And then even when people they love to hear that inside dirt about people didn't get along. But that's any workforce, right? There's people who don't get along. Right.
That's any job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it is what it is. And like I said, wrestling was always a subculture. Now you have everybody spilling the beans about every little thing that ever happened in the business, and people really enjoy that. But you know something? You would never hear me telling personal stories about people that I know, ever. You might hear me tell some story about some funny stuff.
Right.
Like people have heard on some of my podcasts, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But nothing that would out somebody for something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a funny situation, something that might not have been funny back in the day. And like the one story I told about John Tentner wanting to beat up Arn Anderson, and a lot of people didn't even, matter of fact, Arn Anderson didn't even know it.
Yeah.
He didn't even know it till like a couple of years ago when our Conrad asked him about it. And he was like, I had no idea that really went down. It went down because I was there. Me and my brother was there.
Right.
But we never talked about it to anybody because we were the only ones there that saw it.
Yeah.
So when I told the story about it, I really made it funny, and people really loved that story, man.
I can imagine an angry John Tenta was not something you wanted to see.
That's the thing. You never see the guy angry. The guy's like the coolest guy in the world, and we seen him wanting to tear the building up that night in our trailer that we was in. Oh my God, it was so funny. Matter of fact, I just went down to the AEW was here about a month or so ago, a little over a month ago, and I went down to the show, and me and Arn was talking about it. This first time we've seen each other a couple of times at some conventions, but we hadn't really talked about it. And he was like asking me, what was he so angry about, man? Because I didn't know. I'm like, man, I didn't know either. I was just sitting there hoping he don't tear the trailer off. I don't know. I just know what I saw, and I told it the way I saw it, man. It was like, so we were sitting there, me, him, and D. Malenko was sitting there trying to, figure out what was going on. Because today, and John is not with us anymore, so it's kind of hard to have that, it was what it was, but man, what a funny situation.
It's interesting, just like because MMA wasn't as popular yet, but like just thinking about when you describe like some of the guys, you and your brother, John Tenta, I'm thinking like Ming and Barbarian. There were some really tough dudes back in that dressing room back then.
Oh yeah. But the sweetest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
The sweetest guys you'll ever meet. Matter of fact, I was telling Ming's son a story about him one night. He don't even remember the story. And he was like, what happened? I said, you don't remember you was there? He was like, no, I don't. We did a convention a couple of years back, right before COVID, and he was like, no, I don't remember. I said, oh man, I'm gonna have to tell you the story. But I said, I gotta go. I was in a hurry, so I couldn't tell him the story. I said, it was so funny. So funny, man. That I didn't get a chance to tell the story because I had to leave. I had to a podcast or something to go do, or something to go do. It was so funny, and I thought Ming was gonna say, "Oh man, don't tell him this one." Blah blah blah. He was like, "What are you talking about? I don't remember." And I was like, "Oh man, I've never talked with him about it since." So he was drunk that night. So that's probably why he don't remember.
Okay.
Because I never talked with him. I never talked with him about it. I never talked with John Tenta about his. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that kind of guy.
Right.
I don't get in people's business and pry and ask questions about what they were going through. Hey, ain't my name Bennett and I ain't in it. That's how I was raised. So
yeah, very old school. It's cool. Like mind your own business, keep your nose down, work hard. Right. Yeah.
That's it. I want to do my tour of duty and get out and land on my feet. That's why I never got involved in everybody else's bullshit.
Yeah. Now, get back. We were talking about combat sports a little before, and the pro wrestling aspect of it. I know you're a boxing fan, and we were talking about something recently. I just figured you share the story because we're doing an episode on greatest heavyweights this weekend too, and you met Muhammad Ali, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell everybody about that. I'm curious to hear that story. If you don't mind.
We were in San Francisco, and one of the guys that worked with the company had told us, "Man, I got a surprise for you guys when we get to San Francisco." We didn't know what he was talking about, though. Matter of fact, we didn't even remember him saying it. Then after we did a pay-per-view that night, and after we finished, we went back to the hotel, and I remember him coming to say, "Hey," before we left the building, he was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna come by you guys' room, and y'all be ready by such and such a time, cause I still got that surprise for you guys." And I'm like, "Okay," and so me and my brother went back to the hotel, changed clothes, cleaned up. And then here come the guy from WCW and said, "You guys ready?" Yeah, we went down, got in a car, and we went to this hotel downtown San Francisco. And it's like, go in the hotel, ain't nobody in there. You know, you go in the hotel, people walking around. This is hotel like a ghost town. I'm like, but you could tell it was a super expensive hotel because it had that early American look to it. You know how the San Francisco area is? Had that early American look to it. So we go get on the elevator, and you go up to the very top, and you have to get a card out and put it in to go even further, So it was up there. Now me and my brother like, what the hell is going on here, Everything's so drab. I was, it's kind of like the damn Addams family or something. So we get off the elevator, we walk down the hallway. These hallways are not like the hallways in regular hotel because all the rooms are super big. So there's a door here, and the next door would be way down there or something like that. So we go up to this one room, and my boy knocks on the door, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to be back in 30 minutes. And we're like, okay. Then he left. Then me and my brother sitting there looking at each other like, okay. Then the door opens, and it's Muhammad Ali.
Oh, man.
Come on in. Then me and my brother look at each other like, Muhammad Ali, what the? So we go in and we just start chopping it up, man. We just start chopping it up and chopping it up with the champ, man.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, So it was a night to remember, brother. We took pictures and and Ali was doing magic tricks and talking about who would win out of us if we wrestled each other, and I would win. My brother like, I would win, blah blah blah, And it was just a night to remember, man. Then we took pictures. Then our guy came back with a photographer, and we took pictures and stuff like that, and nobody else was in the place, just Muhammad Ali, my brother, and I.
Yeah.
And we chopped it up for about 30, 40 minutes, and it's a night I'll never forget.
That's the man, and it's kind of a trip, right? I remember a couple years ago. That's probably more than that now, but Rampage Jackson and King Mo had this little beef, but they were getting along and they were joking, and they said something about, well, maybe you do the pro wrestling circuit. We'll be Harlem Heat. You can be Booker T, obviously, Stevie Ray. And I thought to myself, when we were getting ready to do this, I was thinking about that because we were talking about, isn't it a trip? I mean, obviously it is a job, but it's kind of fucking cool. These people like you watching other things that are making it, and they're fans of you, right?
That's what tripped us out about Muhammad Ali.
Right.
That's what really tripped us out. We did not know that this, of all people, was a fan of ours. Now, me and King Mo are very cool. You know what I'm saying? Me and King Mo are very cool. We knew a lot of the African American athletes, because we met so many of them. We started meeting them. They would tell them, "Hey, man, we watch you, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, wow. Because it took me a long time to really realize the impact me and my brother was having on professional wrestling because I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. Even my friends, even my personal friends would tell me, "Brother, you don't really realize how big you guys are." Because I never brought professional wrestling home with me.
Right.
Never brought it home with me. Anybody would come, even my neighbors even my neighbors, don't come over my house talking about pro wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Now, the little kids in my neighborhood that was my daughter's age, those little kids, I kind of raised a whole bunch of them, you know what I'm saying? But, they would come by and ask for T-shirts and stuff like, hey, Stevie Ray, can I get an NWO T-shirt or something like that, But, it was never that in my neighborhood because while I had my house built, it was the first house in the sector of the neighborhood. And everybody knew whose house it was getting built. So they used my house as a selling point to the rest of the neighborhood. So I couldn't move in it for 3 or 4 months, something like that. So yeah, I see that house over there. We're doing that for pro wrestler Stevie Ray. You know what I'm saying? And people go, oh, he lives here. Yeah. And so it was kind of cool, But my neighborhood was very diverse. And that's why I told my real estate guy, find me a diverse neighborhood. I'm not like these athletes. I said, I'm an athlete. Every neighborhood you take me to ain't nobody but white folks. Not that I got anything against white folks, but I said I would rather live in a diverse neighborhood. I'm not the NFL guy that just got $1 million, contract, and this is where you got to live. I said, all those nice neighborhoods. They was cool, but I'm like, nothing against that. But I say, I want my daughter to grow up around a more diverse neighborhood. So the neighborhood that they found was willing to build me the house the way I wanted it built. Not that was on the blueprints. They changed a few things for me. And like I said, the neighborhood was black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Muslim, that was who I wanted to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's who I wanted to be. And I made such good relationships. And so many of those kids used to come to my house and they would ghost card my DirecTV deal, those little kids. If a fight coming on, they would ghost card it for me like I couldn't afford to pay for it. Is that something? I'm jacking the fight, right? You know what I'm saying? Is that something? Those little kids, little Asian kids, little Arabic kids, and Hispanic kids, white kids, black kids, and they'd be all in my living area, watching the fight with me, and they would ask me wrestling stuff, and I would give them, fatherly advice. And all those kids grew up to be, they're like in all in their mid-20s now, mid to late 20s now. You know what I'm saying? And all of them grew up to be productive people in society, man. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's really cool.
And I'm proud of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they all would come and want to swim in my pool because I was the only house in the neighborhood with a swimming pool. Other than that, they got to go to the pool for the, for the subdivision. And they would, hey, Stevie, can we swim up here? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You guys, something happened to you guys. I'm going to be responsible for you. I said, you got to go ask your parents. You know what I'm saying? Your parents call me and tell me if it's cool. Y'all can do it. Because I'm like, I don't feel like watching you suckers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like being out here watching y'all, man.
You know
what I'm saying? Ain't your dad or nothing like that, But they was cool and I loved it because a lot of them went to school with my daughter. They was about her age.
Yeah.
And she used to really get pissed off if I let those kids swim in the pool, which was hers. Oh, she hated that. She get those stupid kids out of my swimming pool. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh God, So like I said, I like that. Those guys, all those kids, man, grew up to be productive. Like the little Pakistani kids, they grew up, they opened up a phone store from my neighborhood. And me and their dad was really, really cool, man. And, so many of the parents used to come over the house and just talk. None of them talked about wrestling.
Right.
I used to love that. I've sold my house. I sold my house a couple of years ago and moved in a condo. I'm in a condo now because I don't really like home living in it.
Dude,
it's just too much.
Preach no more. I get it.
So, but I met so many people. Those kids grew up to be productive people in society, all races, all creeds, all religion. Mm-hmm. My cul-de-sac was one white lady, one black lady, one Hispanic couple, one Muslim couple, and one Korean couple. I mean, that was my cul-de-sac. And me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
awesome.
we all got along, and we all looked out for each other. Whenever I was out of town, I didn't have to worry about my crib. So, yeah, I'm proud of that.
That's awesome, man. That's bigger than wrestling. That's
Yeah.
that's life. Yeah. I we were talking about boxing a little bit, but did you watch the Fury Wilder fight?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I think if Deontay Wilder, I honestly think ever since that last fight, Deontay Wilder's not right. Because I've never seen a man blow up in 2 rounds. Deontay Wilder was on lazy legs in 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And he hadn't even spent himself yet. So I honestly think, he was discombobulated by a punch. And I honestly think it's kind of like Roy Jones when he got knocked out that first time. He never was the same. And I think that's what's wrong with Deontay Wilder right now. It's not, that guy was in shape.
Yeah.
I've seen Deontay Wilder go 12 rounds like Steven Severn.
Yeah.
I've seen him go 12 rounds with this guy. This guy's in impeccable shape. But after 2 rounds, you look like somebody slipped you a Mickey.
Yeah.
So I honestly believe a punch caught him somewhere, and his equilibrium was off for the rest of that fight. He was fighting on sure instinct after 3 rounds. Even though he knocked Fury down, he knocked him down on instinct. And I'm going to be honest with Fury wasn't in the best of shape anyway.
He did not look motivated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He wouldn't, and I honestly think that's why the fight was postponed, because I don't think he was in shape a few months back, and he wanted to get in a little better shape. That's why he got knocked down. You got knocked down by a punch that wasn't even a punch. That wasn't a real Fury right hand.
Yeah.
The right hands that we've seen in the past. So if that knocked you down, brother, and this guy on lazy legs, but hey, man, he got up, he won the fight, and you got to give him kudos for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, to me, they've been really, the two personalities, again, borrowing a little bit from wrestling, really revitalized the heavyweight boxing scene in the last few years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The fight that really surprised me, though, was Usyk and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see
And I
that
couldn't
coming.
believe Anthony Joshua tried to box with a boxer. I couldn't believe that. You the big guy, man. Be the big guy.
Right. Yeah. No, and I mean, he lost weight when he had that rematch with Ruiz there. And, okay, he wanted to be faster in that fight. But why in this fight? He should have put that size back on, I thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because the thing is, you're a boxer, but you're a big boxer. You know what I'm saying? Your hands are not going to be as fast as the shorter guy. Even if y'all got the same hand speed, you're taking more distance to get there. And then when you do that, you got to bend down to get to his level. Brother, stand up, throw punches down, beat him up, rough him up. You know what I'm saying? Make him work.
Yeah, borrow from Fury. That's what.
Exactly. Put the weight, make him work, man. Don't box with him. Make him work. He's not used to that. But if you let him get in a comfort zone, people can do their comfort zones all day long. Comfortable.
Who did you grow up on for boxing? Who were some of the guys in boxing you liked?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, brother. From when I was a kid, from Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman. From a kid Norton.
You were.
To that era, through the Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler area and Roberto Duran era.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The Vito Antuofermo era.
I just missed the Ali era myself, and so it was a lot of the lighter guys: Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, that Hearns Hagler fight. Oh my God!
I mean, the heavyweights when Holyfield and them came around.
Oh yeah.
Mike Tyson, all of these guys, Razor Ruddock, Tommy Morrison. I mean, just boxing, man. Just a boxing fan, man, through and through.
So, if you had to, because this is what we're doing this weekend. If you don't mind, us, gun to your head, kind of top 5 boxing heavyweights, who would maybe make your list?
Top 5?
Yeah, I figure Ali's going to be in there for sure.
Oh, most definitely. But the thing is this. The way I look at boxing or any sport, I say you have to. I don't think you can be as blunt with any sport, especially when a sport goes through an evolutionary period.
Okay, good point.
Muhammad Ali was 6'3". He weighed maybe 210 pounds when he won the heavyweight title. The Gypsy King came in the ring the other night at 277 pounds.
All right. 6'9".
He's 6'9".
Yeah.
Do you honestly think Muhammad Ali, which would have looked like a puny little skinny guy,
Right.
what would he have did against that kind of girth?
And that man can move too when he's on his game.
So
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a better fighter, but I'm
Right.
saying if you took a guy from the past and put him a guy from the future, it's no comparison.
Yeah.
It's no comparison. So when I say that, Ali is the best of his era.
Okay. Yep.
Ali is the best of his era. I think Evander Holyfield was the best of his era.
Very underrated, I think.
And the reason I say this is because of the fighters that you fought, the competition. It's just like when people say Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever. And I can't agree with that because, like I said, a LeBron James came in the league at 18 years of age. And look at how basketball has changed from 2003 to 2021. Look at how many teams got snipers and athletic individuals. You got 20 Michael Jordans in the league right now that is just as athletic and can shoot 10 times better. So in essence, when people make that assertion, what I always say is this: LeBron James had to go up against stiffer competition. And they had to go against the evolution of basketball, whereas I got to change my game. And the longevity. Most players burn out at 33, 34, 35. LeBron James is still the top of his game at 37 years of age.
Yeah.
That's unprecedented. Even though Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played 22 years, by year 15, he wasn't the same. How many athletes can you say at an advanced age, and I put Tom Brady in that too, because people say, well, Tom Brady, look, he's playing at 44. If Tom Brady had played when Joe Montana played, would he have made it to 44?
Yeah.
Would he?
Yeah.
No. Because I got the right to put you on the critical list and nobody says nothing. Now, if I swipe in front of your face, it's a 15-yard penalty.
True.
I'm just saying, Tom Brady's age is advanced because of the rules that changed. Joe Montana never had that luxury. And do you know Joe Montana never snapped the ball out of the shotgun? Did you know that? So that's what I'm saying. When you comparing people, I can't touch the receivers anymore. Well, it wasn't like that in Joe Montana's days. I can't touch the quarterback anymore.
Right.
Well, it wasn't like that in Joe Montana's day. When I initiate pass protection, I couldn't grab you under the shoulder pads and stuff like that, like they do today. You see the difference?
Yeah. Right.
So you can't take this and compare it to this, because if you eating ice cream and cake every day, and I'm eating mud, you're going to be more nourished.
Yeah, and jump on that too. I mean, workout equipment, nutritional things, everything is advancing, right? So the athletes are natural. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that's a given. The
Right.
athletes, and that's what I'm saying. If you put Michael Jordan, and I don't give a shit what anybody says, you put him in today's game, he would not average the points because he's 195 pounds.
Right.
195 pounds. LeBron James, 6'9", 260, and move like a gazelle. What I'm saying, you will see things. The game moves. If you go back on YouTube, look at the games from the 80s and early 90s, and then go look at the games from today. Everything is moving like this.
And even great too. Just look at the sport of mixed martial arts. How much that is.
Yes.
Look at women's mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Ronda Rousey comes in. God bless her for the time period. She had the skills, but man, that sport has evolved so much more.
Look at the guys that's doing the sport now, as opposed to the guys back in the day. You know, like Ken Shamrock, who's a friend of mine, and Horace Gracie.
Yeah.
We saw what happened to Horace Gracie when he went up against a today's fighter.
Right.
He almost got his head bashed in.
Yeah.
I'm like, goodness, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the evolution of sports does not go backwards. It doesn't. I mean, Deontay Wilder, 6'6",
Yeah.
almost 240.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, and when you the question that you asked me about who's my top, it's hard for me to do that. I can only do people by era. And Ali Frazier, all those guys that he fought, those were the top 5 guys of his era.
Yep.
Because I honestly believe Ali fighting a Mike Tyson might not have been super difficult, but Ali fighting a Riddick Bowe,
Right.
that's a whole nother ball game.
I will throw this one out there that's kind of interesting, though. George Foreman competed in a couple different eras there. And successful. Obviously not the same, but had that power. Yeah.
But when George fought back in the day, he was 215, 220.
Right.
When George fought, when he came back, 260.
Yeah.
And he knew how to use his weight. And and the heavyweight division didn't have a lot of top guys.
Right. And too, he said something there that kind of dawned on me. I remember watching this kid. It was because my father would show me the old George Foreman stuff too. And George almost looked like, it wasn't that he had better cardio, but he was smarter at how he distributed his weight and stuff too. Like,
he's more relaxed.
Right.
He's more relaxed, more confident, everything else. And this is another reason. Okay, people always ask me about Floyd Mayweather. How great Floyd Mayweather is, especially these young cats, because they ain't seen nobody else. And I would always say, Floyd Mayweather is a great fighter, but do we really know how great he is? And they ask me, why do you say that? Because he never fought the African-American fighter. You made your name on fighting flat-footed Hispanic fighters. Every time you got into a ring with a 40-year-old Shane Mosley, he hurt you. You got in the ring with a guy that you was bigger than, Zab Judah, who also hurt you. You got in the other African-American fight before that was Chop Chop Curley, who also hurt you. But none of these guys was at the top of their game when you fought them. Sugar Shane Mosley was almost 40 years old and had been beaten several times. Zab Judah came up to 147. Zab Judah should have never came up to 147. He was a 140-pound fighter fighting at 147 and a hothead. But if you look at the beginning of that fight, the first 5 rounds, he was clearly beating Floyd Mayweather. Okay? And then you go to Chop Chop Curley. Chop Chop Curley was never a top fighter. He was a good fighter, and he hurt you. So it's easy to go through life picking and choosing people that you know your slick style, that 70s style is better than, because you always avoided the African-American fighter. Because what you would miss is this. The African-American fighter has the same thing you have. He has the fast twitch muscles. He has the same hand-to-eye coordination, the fast feet, the reflexes. It's just like when, in the old days, when the cavalry had to fight Indians in the American territory. Well, a Cherokee Indian fights this way. An Apache fights another way. A Choctaw fights another way. And when they get these guys to kind of scout these guys, this Choctaw doesn't know what a Cherokee does. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
You are a product of your environment. So it's easy to beat the flat-footed, slow Hispanic fighters and make it seem like you really beat somebody. But in essence, when a Sugar Ray Leonard goes up against a Tommy Hearns, I got to really figure you out because we at the same level.
Right.
So you're taller than me, but you just as fast.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's interesting.
same thing.
Yeah.
No, most people don't talk about that, especially not trying to talk about you or anybody like that, especially white people. They don't think about this.
Right.
If you look at all the top African-American fighters that ever come through in the last 40, 50 years, they had to go through an adversary that fought similar to them
That's
to
a
be
great
the
point.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. That era we were talking about, I grew up
Yes.
watching was like Ray Leonard, Hearns,
Right.
Hagra, Durant. Like those were the four. There were others, but those were like the four pillars.
Right.
Like,
Like you said, there was others in there.
Yeah, there
And you
was.
had to fight. You had to fight them to get to that level, the king level.
Yeah. Like this off the top of my head, Wilfred
Like
Benitez,
somebody
Iran
like
Barkley.
Wilfredo Benitez.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
You know, he fought all these guys, but he was quick. You know what I'm saying? Puerto Rican, I think Roberto Benitez was. But I'm just saying, that style will beat that. You got to realize the American style is not taught in South America. The slick American style comes from the Philadelphia area, the New York area. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from that, those northeast areas. That's where that slick style comes from. And people teach it. It goes from generation to generation. Now, what guy in Mexico is going to know anything about that style?
Right. Yeah.
Nobody. Now, there are people that are
Interesting.
got melanin in their skin in South America, but they not from here.
Right. Right.
So what the stuff that they practice going to be just like everybody else in that region.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought about it. You always talk about styles making fights, but region too. Region is such an important. Yeah, where he grew up from. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
when the United States was over in Afghanistan, and they was paying these Afghans to go look for who? Other Afghans, because I don't know what these guys do. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
No, I'm sorry, brother. Stevie Ray have to break it down to people.
Mm-hmm.
That is why a Pacquiao, to me, people always ask me, who do you think had a better career, Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather? Manny Pacquiao, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? You remember all of his fights.
Right.
The only fight you can remember Floyd Mayweather had was the one with Conor McGregor and the Big Show. And the Big Show.
Right. The two more entertainment aspects. Those were the more.
Think about that.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody can remember those fights. And when they have legendary nights, fights, from years and, some of the older guys, not one Floyd Mayweather fight is on there.
Yeah.
I was looking at this thing on YouTube one night. It had the top, I forgot how many fights, 50, 60, 70, 80. I can't remember how many fights ever. Floyd Mayweather wasn't on there one time. Manny Pacquiao was on there a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
If you want to talk about boxing, this is the way on my radio show and on my podcast. This is the way I talk about boxing.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I never thought about it, though, like you said, in terms of region, but it is interesting. And I remember Mike Tyson saying something on his podcast one time, too.
What did he say?
He said something about his son wanted to fight, and he just laughed because he said, you didn't grow up like I grew up in the region that I grew up. Right. He said, you can't do it. It's not going to work, and that is interesting, right? Because there is something also just growing up rough, right? I mean, and actually going to be more hungry in a lot of cases, right? I mean, Floyd didn't grow up like his father probably did. You know, not disrespecting the guy either, but you know what I mean? Like he didn't. It's not like he was starving. I guess I'm saying.
No, I really and truly, that's kind of academic. I really don't care. You know, what you come up. If you can learn the sport of pugilism, you know, nobody knows what kind of heart you got until you get in there and do it. But at the end of the day, if you fight inferior competition, you can never be considered a top guy, because it's like this: if you don't fight someone at your level, and I'm not saying these other guys wasn't great boxers. Mm-hmm. But what makes the Indy 500 great is that the guy up here got the same equipment as the guy back here. What makes NASCAR great, because the guy up here got the same equipment as the guy back here. We're on an even playing field. My pit crew might be better than yours, and my pit strategy might be better than yours, and I might go through turn 3 a little faster than you. But other than that, we got the same shit.
Right. Even playing field.
Same guys with the same stuff. Now, if you got quick hands, quick feet, and like to hold a lot, and I'm the flat-footed guy that can't get off, I don't even have to hit you to beat you. I just look better. But when you go into a fight with a guy that's just as fast as you, just as hungry as you, just as skilled as you, and he's looking at you across the fence, how big are your nuts then?
Right. Well said.
How big are your nuts then?
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to have to fight him to beat him. Now it comes down to what? Will and heart. Because he got the same thing you got. He might be younger. He might be hungrier. He ain't sleeping on silk sheets. How bad do you want to fight him then? Floyd Mayweather never had to encounter that. You remember Mick telling Rocky that in the Rocky movie? When when Mr. T said no, he trying to retire, but why won't he fight me?
Right.
Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And what did Mick tell him? He said, you had 10 times defenses, but they wasn't like this guy.
Right, we're protecting you.
What do you mean? Yeah, exactly. Now you get what I'm talking about.
Right.
So Floyd Mayweather's been protected. They never wanted him to go up against that guy that was similar to him, because then you killed a gravy train.
Yeah.
And I've debated people on radio and stuff about, hey, once they seen what I was talking about and thought about it, and it's like, well, I never thought about it like.
It is interesting. Yeah.
Because you wooed by the picture that's been painted. Mm-hmm. I knew he was going to beat Manny Pacquiao because of his style.
Right.
I knew he was going to beat Manny Pacquiao, but he never hurt the man. He never really hit the man. The only person that got hit in that fight was him. But he's got longer arms, and when Manny goes to go off, he grabs him. That's why you don't even remember that fight.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fight. If you know what I'm saying. It was a fight. It was a fight, great build-up. But what did we get? Floyd Mayweather has never given us what we always wanted. Did Sugar Ray Leonard give you what you wanted? Did Tommy Hearns give you what you wanted?
Oh, yeah.
Did Roberto Duran give you what you wanted? Did Marvin Hagler give you what you wanted? Mm-hmm. Did even old George give you what you wanted?
He did. He brought it every time.
Did Lennox Lewis give you what you wanted?
All those guys.
Evander Holyfield. Listen to me. All of them. Did Oscar De La Hoya give you what you wanted?
Brought it. Can
you remember any of those fights?
Yeah.
Now you tell me the one main fight that you remember that Floyd Mayweather had that you actually remember from round 1 to round 12. Which one?
Conor McGregor and Big Show.
Okay. I rest my case.
Yeah. Heavyweight entertainment. Yeah.
I rest my case.
Which I think before we get into promotion and anything else you got going on, great way to almost end it, because that go back to pro wrestling. Right, we're borrowing pro wrestling. So we go full circle.
Exactly.
Now, Steve, what are you up to nowadays? And promote anything you want, man. Floor is yours.
Well, I'm working with a podcast network right here in Houston called Boss Up Houston, and I'm going to be doing my new podcast over there called the Stevie Ray Experience. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be shooting that and doing my first show, and I'm also over the part of the company that's going to be trying to get more sports content on the show. So I'm going to be in charge of that. And, you know, as you can see behind me, Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray, the most dangerous podcast, you know. Still shooting that 2 to 3 days a week. And I do another podcast with Vince Russo once a week called Black and White, where we talk about some of the black and white social issues that go on in this country on a weekly basis. So I'm pretty busy, man. I'm pretty busy. I'm in talks with some guys about a book right now, and I'm also, my agent just called me today about some people interested in me doing another movie. So
Cool. Nice.
I'm just trying to do what I can do, man. Like I tell people, I'm living my best life, man, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm also in talks with AEW on something I put together that I'm pitching to them, and I almost got it finished, and I want to try to do something with them. Yeah.
Awesome, man. That's good to hear, man. I'm happy to see people doing big things, and like you said, just still chasing after living your best life, right? Every day, just
man. Just get the, like I talk about on my podcast, but I tell people I don't know what hate feels like. I don't know what it feels like. I know what love feels like. I know what dislike feel like for certain individuals, but on a daily basis, I don't know what hate feels like. And anybody that gets up, and I ask people all the time, please call my podcast or text me or send me a DM or comment or something. Please explain to me what hate feels like when you get up in the morning and you go to your bathroom and you take a piss and then you look in the mirror and the only thing you see is hate for others. Please explain to me what the fuck that feels like, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because we see so much of that in this country now. And I don't even think people even realize what they're doing. No country can be great by hating others. Because if you down, I'm down. When you up, I'm up. And if I can help lift you up, that's me. Because if you doing good, that means I'm doing good.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How can you feel comfortable with somebody doing bad and you like it?
Yeah. Makes no sense.
As a nation, people don't realize the uniqueness of this nation because they ain't never been nowhere. Well, I've been around the world a couple of times. And I know how special this nation can be. And I'm going to give my 2 cents. And I'm going to try my damnedest to give it all I can give to make it a better place.
I want to just back up for 1 second because you said something I'm really happy about. When we were doing this in the beginning, when we were talking about wrestling, you said, if they look good, we look good. Everybody looks good. Right. So if we're doing good, you're doing good. Those are life lessons that can be learned and everything right there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. See, man, I agree 1,000%. Like, there's no reason to be hating on people. You know, let's learn to love.
I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, bro.
Wasted energy.
I don't understand it, brother. It's something I ain't never been able to get grips on in my whole life. It's something that dwells within people, and I guess it's taught from a very young age.
Yeah.
And there's some of the stuff that me and Vince talk about on our podcast together, and we come at it strong and we come at it hard. And if anybody knows me, I don't sugarcoat nothing.
I can tell.
I don't sugarcoat nothing. You don't ask me. Tony Schiavone gave me that name, Straight Shooting Stevie Ray, because one time he was like, man, every time somebody asks you something, you shoot straight with them. So that's where it came from. Tony Schiavone gave me that name, Straight Shooting Stevie Ray. I didn't realize it though. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
I didn't realize I was like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm happy-go-lucky, easy to get along with type guy. But brother, when I see somebody saying the wrong shit at the wrong time to the wrong people, hey brother, I'm gonna check you, bro. I'm gonna check you because like been in hotels and somebody talking to the girl behind the, what I'm saying, the wrestlers think they, wait a minute, dog. Give her a minute, bro.
Yeah.
Where the fuck you going?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hotel ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Ease the fuck up. That's just me.
Yeah. I think it's good, man. We need people like you to kind of keep people in check once in a while. We try to do it, but not everybody can be Stevie Ray.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So those are some of the things. Like last night on my podcast, I had something that's been bothering me for a long time. So I usually, like you, talk about combat sports and things like that on the show, or movies, television.
Yeah.
Me and Jimmy, he's a comedian. Sometimes we talk about some of the old black exploitation movies.
Did you ever just think about doing comedy? I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to ask you that. Did you ever think about doing stand-up? Did you ever think about doing stand-up comedy or anything like that?
No, people tell me how funny I am sometimes, but I'm like, man, I don't see it. Like Vince today, he couldn't stop laughing when we was doing our podcast today. He's like, he couldn't stop laughing, man, because I come on the show and I do imitations.
Okay.
But he said all my imitations sound like the same guy. He was like, well, who was that you just... Because we were talking about Colin Powell. I was talking about Colin Powell that he just died, you know what I'm saying? And I started reenacting Colin Powell going to Vietnam, and they sent him over there for this big massacre that went down in Vietnam, and he's supposed to be the guy to go over there and check it out and stuff like that. And he came back and he told the Joint Chiefs that, hey, everything, he didn't see nothing wrong, this, that, and the other. So the other guys go in and take pictures and all this stuff, all these massacres, beheadings that the United States was doing, And then they come back and they put this in, because you remember back in those days, you could put stuff in magazines and stuff. And,
right.
They stop you nowadays because the government tell you, no, don't do it or your magazine will get shut down. But back in those days, you're talking about the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
You could do stuff. That's why Nixon got brought down, because of two guys at the newspaper. So I was making reference to that, I think. Hey, Colin Powell, we need to send you over to Vietnam. And then Colin Powell said, oh, I said, okay. I said, wait a minute. No, this is young Colin Powell. Okay. He's like, you don't know the old Colin. I said, wait a minute. I've been knowing the old Colin Powell. I didn't know the Colin Powell back in the 60s,
Right.
So Colin Powell come back and go, well, everything looks okay to me, And Vince is dying laughing, and say, well, then here come the news article could come out, shows everything that Colin Powell never saw. And Colin like, hey, baby, I'm trying to get these stripes. Y'all don't even much get it, baby. I'm gonna get these stars, dog. You know what I'm saying? You got fucked up. So that's what we do on the show sometimes. We talk about serious stuff, but we'll keep it you know what I'm saying? We don't want to make it so serious that people start to offend people and stuff like that,
I think that's the best fucking promo we could have done. No, that's pretty good, man.
So I do a lot of that on the show, and Vince have people calling in, asking them, they be sending comments like, when I'm imitating somebody or trying to do it. So it's not stand up, but
but there's a knack, right? Yeah, you can be. It's different to be funny in a group, right, and have fun. And that's an art form too, kicking it. But right, I guess stand up comedy. There's.
But I just be wanting people to see how I see stuff in a serious way, but I make it funny.
Right.
I said, did you see Colin Powell at the United Nations? Oh, right here, the Saddam Hussein, he was trying to get yellow cake from one of the Afghans or stuff like that, and As you can see right here on this picture, well, Mr. Powell, that's not a picture, that's a drawing that some fifth grader could have done. Yeah, but I'm Colin Powell, so you should take my word for it. You know what I'm saying?
I am.
He got weapons of mass destruction. Where are they? We didn't find them, but I'm quite sure they're there. So we should go attack that nation. Okay. All right then. What the? God damn.
Oh my God, dude.
Man.
I'm gonna be at work tomorrow morning. All I'm gonna hear is I'm trying to get these stripes.
Trying to get these stars, dog. I don't get it. I didn't see nothing.
I mean,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny to me.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I'm on me too, obviously.
That stuff is funny to me, man. I'm like,
what kind of? You know what? We're gonna wrap up. Whatever. I want to ask you. You talking about comedy a little bit. What were some of your favorite comedians growing up?
Oh man, of course Richard Pryor.
Pryor, yep.
Jackie Mason, man.
Okay.
Jackie Mason was a funny dude. Rich Little.
Yeah.
Remember Rich Little did all the impressions and stuff like that. What was his name? Foster Brooks. I don't know if you remember him, man.
Name sounds familiar.
When I was a kid, man, Foster Brooks, he used to act like he was drunk all the time. All his whole skit was the drunk guy. This guy could do the drunk guy better than anybody. I could look at this guy forever. I still pull up a lot of his stand-up, you know what I'm saying, and some of the variety shows that he was on. That's a funny dude, man. He would actually make you think he was drunk. And people didn't know Foster Brooks was a world-class vocalist that people never knew.
Foster Brooks.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
Vocalist, man. That's how good these guys were. And like people, I go to the comedy clubs here sometimes, every blue moon, and I hear comedy. But the comedy I grew up on was so broad because, George Carlin, these guys had such a broad mindset that they educated you and did comedy at the same time. And you look at it and go, wow, that's brilliant. Brilliant. And I listen to some of these comedians today in some of the comedy clubs, and it's like the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same guy telling the same jokes. No disrespect or nothing like that. But I just came from a different era when a comedian, was bigger than a comedian. He was a real, when other comedians came out to watch and go, I got to see this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because he got something, man. You know what I'm saying? What goes on in the mind of people like that, it just freaks me out, man.
To have that kind of like, I don't know what you would call it, like the observational skills, like in that moment to take all that in. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
He can be talking about some of the serious stuff in the world and make it funny.
Yeah.
That's why I see this thing with Dave Chappelle, because me and Vince talked about that today, and this council culture trying to. And
did you see his recent special?
I seen the part where we're talking about the transgender.
Okay.
I didn't see the whole thing though.
Okay, I just watched most of it yesterday, but
what do you think?
It's interesting. I liked it. I loved it. I thought that again, comedy's subjective, right?
Yeah.
It's art, and I didn't personally find anything. And this isn't to my own word. We literally had a trans person on the other day for an interview. Did great. Got good reviews, and at the same time, I can say I watched this. I didn't personally find what he was saying insulting. It's comedy. And actually, he's telling a story about a person he knew who was trans, who killed themselves.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And if you listen to it at the end, too, it's like he's taking a serious moment. And you can kind of see moments where emotionally, like he's playing it off really good, but he also turns it into comedy at the same time, which is a fucking art form and a half.
And that's my point, man. Yeah. That's not easy.
No, to take things that really bother you deep down inside and you're going to turn it into comedy. Yeah, I just don't think we live in an age right now where people can grasp that. We're too A little. It's a part of it's a little territorial, I think, and tribal, and also we're just used to. I don't know. There's a certain culture where if you don't completely agree with everything I'm about to say, well, then you must be on this side. Where
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray.
No compromise.
Right.
No compromise.
Yeah.
You gotta come to a medium. This, like you said, territorial, tribal mentality that people got in this country today, it just boggles my mind, bro. It boggles my mind. Oh my God! Like I said, it does. But you know, like I tell people, better you than me, baby.
Just trying to get these stripes. I said I did love that, man. I'm gonna use that all day.
Hey man, Colin, y'all gotta realize, Colin from New York, baby. Hey, I gotta get this paper. I gotta get this paper, dog. I'm trying to get up there on the Joint Chiefs. You know, I ain't trying to be down here with these jabronis for the rest of my life. Right. Driving a tank and a Jeep, you know what I'm saying? Hey, baby, I'm gonna be in that limo. You better dig it. Yeah, I'm telling this. I'm gonna be running this mug. You know.
Is there anything else you want to promote, Stevie?
No, that's pretty much about it. That's pretty much everything I'm into right now.
Awesome, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing the show. We appreciate you, and
Hey, thank you.
we'll love to have you back some other time, man. You were great.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.